Welcome to the Answers for Elders radio show. Meet the trusted experts who will give you straight answers and will help guide you on the path of later life care. Now, here's your host, founder, caregiver, and CEO, Suzanne Newman.
And welcome back, everyone, to Answers for Elders Radio Network. And we are here with Paula Sikes, who is the Director of Engagement, or Resident Engagement. Is that correct? I got it correct. With Cogir Senior Living. And Paula and we are talking about social wellness. And, you know, when I was thinking about this topic, it's like one of the things I think that Cogir communities really do well is they connect. They connect to the communities, and they really, they do, obviously, they're a big sponsor. If you're in this greater Seattle area, you've seen them as our gold sponsor, not only last year, but they will be this year, and for 12 Days of Goodness. And we work with the Seattle Seahawks in basically touching the hearts of seniors, making sure that they matter in the world. And this is like when I think about, you know, what Cogir stands for, this is what I think about. I think about the fact of that caring, connection, and that desire to be a part of community. And I'm so thrilled, Paula, to have you on the program because I'm a huge fan of Cogir, and I just think the world of your organization. So thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Suzanne. I really appreciate the opportunity to come on your show and just kind of talk a little bit about our communities and how proud I am of the good jobs that I see that are happening in our communities on a daily basis.
Absolutely. So I'm going to back up a little bit. I want to take the 50,000 foot view of, and I'm just going to ask you a basic question. Why is social engagement or resident engagement important?
We find that social engagement is so important and makes a difference in the residents' life, not just in their social aspect, but even in their health.
Right.
We find that residents, I've heard statistics before in the past that they've done studies that residents that isolate themselves in their rooms, or maybe you're living in your own home and you're not having that social outlet with other people. It's like smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day. That's how much it affects your health. So we find that it's so important for our residents to not just live in our communities, but actually get out of their apartments, get out of the rooms, and come out and socialize and engage with others.
Right.
We feel it's so important that when we put our Cadence Life Enrichment program together, community is our social social dimension. And we feel that it's so important that we say all of our calendars should reflect having one social opportunity per day on the calendar.
Right.
And I don't like to say social activity, it's an opportunity. And I really view it as an opportunity for our residents to get out of their rooms, get out of isolation, and come out and engage with other residents, engage with our staff members, our employees that are working in our communities, and then just get out of that environment of being alone and seeing others and engaging with others. So that is our standard. Our standard is that all of our calendars should reflect some sort of community or social activity that happens every single day. That's how important it is to us at our Cogir communities.
Well, and you know, Paula, what I think about is we just came out of the pandemic, and we had seniors sit alone for basically 2 years. So many of them, turned into hoarding. So many of them, had escalated symptoms of Alzheimer's and dementia. And, we're still discovering what the effect of the pandemic was. But one of the things I think that, I started this therapy dog organization just for that reason, because they were terrified to come out of their home. To live in this bubble and to have this scenario, it's really important that the brain gets utilized. And if you're just watching TV, you're not interacting. All you're doing is taking in information, and that does not that does not train your brain to think or to process or a lot of the things that you need to do when you're engaging in community. Isn't that correct?
Absolutely. We're still feeling the effects of COVID,
Mhm.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
because we are creatures of habit. And so what had happened was we started to isolate, especially if we had an outbreak in one of our communities. Everybody was told, do not come out of your rooms. We
Mhm.
were bringing your meals to your room. We were still trying to have some sort of engagement or activities going on, whether that be just handouts that we were bringing to the residents, doing one-on-one
Mhm.
meetings with the residents. But we are creatures of habit. So now we're finding, even to this day, getting the residents to come out of their apartments because they got so used to staying in their
Yeah.
room and you
Yeah.
got to stay in your room. Um, and so we're coming up with all different kinds of tricks and tips.
Mhm.
Some of our communities are doing some really fun activities where they're giving our residents little tickets. So every activity that you come out to and that you are attending, you actually get a ticket, and then you're going to be in a raffle for an Amazon gift card or something.
Oh, very
Um,
cool.
yeah. So we see that that's actually working.
I'm
And
sure.
then of course our happy hours are always well attended.
Yes,
Um,
of course.
yeah. So there's ways that we are seeing are working in order to get the residents out of their rooms, but it's definitely breaking those habits that we developed over the last
True.
couple of years.
Yeah.
And there is a sense of fear still, that they don't want to get COVID, they don't want to get sick. But unfortunately, sometimes staying in our room, we turn on the news and that's all it is,
Yeah.
bad news and
Yeah.
gloom and
And a
doom.
lot
And
of fear-based propaganda. And
oh,
I think
absolutely.
that's a lot of the scenario when we look at a senior who already feels more vulnerable, maybe has mobility challenges, maybe has a little bit of maybe they have to use a walker or they have maybe COPD, they can't breathe very well. Those things happen. So there's that fear factor. If I go out, I'll get hurt, I'll
I'm
fall, I'll do
susceptible.
things like that. That can be a factor. And obviously, being in a community, you have the support around you where you don't have to worry about those things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We do actually ask the family members of our residents too to encourage their loved ones to come out.
Hmm.
It's so important that our residents are engaging with other residents and staff
Right.
members and just having that social
Yeah.
wellness. Because
Well,
it
and I
really
think
is part of your whole life wellness is
yeah,
having
and
that
you
social
mentioned
aspect.
something that's so important. If there's an event where family members are invited, it's important for the family members to be there. I
Please
think
do.
I probably regret one of the things. I was working so hard because I was taking care of my mom at the time that I didn't attend a lot of these things where I probably should have. And now I think about it, it's like she sat there by herself when everybody else was around with their family members. And I just didn't have the foresight at the time.
Mhm.
Now it's like I could kick myself 20 times because
Sure.
I was too busy. Well, you're never too busy to be there for your loved one. And
Yeah.
I think that's the important thing. So
It,
anyway,
it's
Paula,
funny that you mentioned that, Suzanne, because one of the things when we do our training with our lifestyle
mhm,
directors, we always say that it's not, I don't want to say mandatory, but it's our standard that we have
mhm,
one family event per month. And
fabulous.
realistically, we put that on the calendar because we're trying to be intentional.
Yeah.
And
So Paula, you and we're going to be right back right after
okay.
this. We're going to talk about families right after this.
Yes.
Answers for Elders thanks you for watching the Vitality Revolution. Discover a blueprint to find a whole new gear in life, new awareness, and greater potential. Subscribe and be a part of our community. Answers for Elders is the North Star of navigating senior care, featuring content to help later life go a lot easier.